Hi, everybody. My name is Rita Crompton. So nice to see you on a Saturday morning. Um, Today, our topic is the inventor community. I'm looking more to help inventors really understand, what does your team look like? All right. For most inventors, all right, when you've had that aha moment, all right, the first thing you do is think, oh my God, let me show somebody. That's good. You want some feedback, because if somebody's seen it at Home Depot on shelf, aisle 23 at the top shelf, you're better off knowing that sooner rather than later. Um, but a lot of times what happens is, neighbors, family will see something and say, oh, you should file a patent on that. For most inventors, the default business plan is have idea, get patent, make money. And that is just not the reality of the process. So when you're looking then at those next steps, and I get a lot of people that say, well, I've got a team together. And that's great, because having feedback is really important. What you want is are people, more than one generally, are people who've got specific experience in the things you need covered. So start with yourself. Where is your experience? Do you have business experience? Is it in manufacturing, maybe marketing? If it's not in, there's a difference between the experience that you need to take a product to market or to develop a product, and the experience that you've had that gave you the aha moment. And sometimes it's, you were given the dog a bath, you were, sick child in the middle of the night, you had an aha moment, it's fixing a car, whatever it was. Sometimes it was on the job. But you really need to ask yourself now, when you are trying to build a business and take a product to market, what is your expertise? If it's just throwing stuff at the wall and throwing money down a hole, might want to be able to bring some other folks in that can help you. The dilemma then is, how do you compensate them? How do you pay them? Very few people are going to do it just because they love you. And the ones who love you may not have any more experience that you need than you've got. So you need to be serious. You need to really ask yourself, where do you want to get to with this? If you are just doing it for the good of mankind, bully for you. But most inventors tell me they want to make some money and they want to do it the right way. So what do you do? Well, if you're in an area that's got an inventor community, all right, that can be at least the initial steps for your teamwork. All right, they've made some mistakes. They've got some experience, and they can say, you know what, use this service provider for your prototype. Use this person. Read this article. All right. They can give you, besides you just poking around on the internet and ending up with a whole bunch of gobbledygook, as my grandson would say, you can actually find some good resources. All right. And the people at the local inventing community, they're the ones, they've been down this road, they've made the mistakes. We've got the Inventors Roundtable in Denver. I go and speak at the New England Inventors Association in the Boston area. I've spoken at the Tampa Bay group. I'm going to DC. There are independent inventor groups everywhere. All right. Take the time to go. All right. And this is where I get a lot of inventors that say, well, I saw this online, I read this online. No, get up off your chair and go to the meetings. Be able to ask the questions. All right. There's some that have meetings. There's some that are more of a roundtable discussion. Go to both. All right. Go to both. Participate in, I'll do a lot of podcasts. There are some really good ones out there that have interaction, and you want to gather the information that you can. All right. So if your team is going to be people you've put together, that's one thing. They're going to expect compensation. If you are going to an inventor group that now becomes your inventor community, all right, the people that have been there and given you support, on that other side, you get a lot of family members that think you're crazy. You get neighbors that think you're crazy, friends who think you're crazy. You go to an inventor group and they, oh yeah, been there, done that. Yeah, I, had that same experience. Think about doing it this way. Oh, we're going to, the makerspace, and we're going to build some prototypes together. Come along and go with us. Those are the things that you want. You want the support. You want the people that have been there and done that. You can go to my Inventor Lady site, inventorlady.com. Look at the Inventor's Galaxy Guide. All right, it'll walk you through the phases. And one of the things in there is, find a local group that you can participate with. And if nothing else, that you're just listening to the mistakes and the lessons learned so that you don't make them. The most common mistakes we see, we've talked about those. The last few videos I've done, it's like, talk to George Peters, Bob Houseline. What are the most common mistakes that you see inventors make? And some of it is, jumping the gun too fast, spending money you didn't need to spend. That's one of the big ones that I see inventors make all the time, is that you go out there and you'll spend money that if you'd held on to it, you would have had it for that first round of manufacturing. You would have had to go to a trade show. So in the beginning, when you think, oh, I've got this budget, you need to stretch it. Treat every dime like it's your last one. And the team, the community that you participate in, they will tell you this. They will say, you know what? Don't use that fly-by-night outfit that advertises on TV. Do it this way, one step at a time. But when you can take advantage of going to a community organization and learning from the mistakes everybody else has made, one, you'll appreciate it. You'll enjoy the camaraderie that you get. You will learn so much. You will spend a lot less money. All right. And even if there's a membership involved. All right. I think it's $40 at the New England group. I'm not sure what the Tampa Bay one, but for a few bucks and you think about what you've learned, you spend more than that on a stupid book. All right. And there are some good ones out there, but there are some really bad ones out there. And you know what? Their business model was to get you to buy the book. And while I am a big advocate of learning as much as you can, you need to learn, and then you need to ask questions. And reading a book isn't to stimulate you on the action, it's to stimulate you on the questions you should ask. Right? Different industries, for example, have different protocols. Well, if you've read the book written by somebody in a particular industry and that's all they write about, and you're in a different industry, one of the most obvious ones that we run into is people say, oh, don't file a patent, just be first to market. Well, in the tech industry, that's actually pretty accurate, because the patents that get filed on an app, for instance, are obsolete before you ever get it in the door. And it's certainly obsolete by probably several generations by the time it would issue, if it ever does issue. So by all means, on those, it is down and dirty first to market. But in the tool industry, where those patents tend to have the longest lifespan, I mean, it's technically 20 years, but as new products get to market, they can push yours out. But those patents and products tend to have the longest shelf life. So you'd certainly want a book that talked about, if you're in a tool, working on a tool, you're in the tool industry, that would talk about tools as opposed to high tech. But you don't always know, as the inventor, where that author is coming from. So it gives you the opportunity now to go to the meetings, all right, your community group, and ask questions. All right. That is what it's all about, is gathering the information before you make that first financial mistake. And so as you're going through that money, usually first thing out the door, it's $500 to get a search done. That swing can be $500 to $1,500. And for most inventors, you've got to be able to pony up at least that amount. All right, so that what do you have? And then you go to the registered patent attorney, the engineers, you start asking questions. For a lot of inventors, that can give you some closure, move on to your next idea. But again, the community and the team players, all right, they're going to be the ones that have the most information for you. At our meeting a couple of weeks ago, we had at the Denver meeting, a new inventor who was there, and he was asking a lot of questions. And we had one of our older inventors there who was answering a lot of the questions and saying, you do it this way. And I've had him meet with other inventors before. He say, I think that's in, aisle 10 at Home Depot on the top shelf. I remember seeing one. I saw this one here. That is what the community is for. To say, seen these before. Let's figure out where and why. And then to say, this one is cool. And this inventor speaking with, an experienced inventor, and the inventor is saying, this is pretty darn cool. You know, you need to get moving on this, get your prototypes, you know, fixed up. And that gives the inventor now confidence from someone else who's in the arena. All right. As opposed to neighbor, friends, spouses. Are you crazy? So look at your communities. Most communities will have an inventor group, especially in the larger metropolitan areas. Go, get out of your chair. All right. Spend an evening with an inventor group and go back. Make it a monthly thing that you do. All right. That you're actually engaged now and finding out what is the best option for you. Learn before you go down the rabbit hole, as my friend George would say. So have a very nice weekend. Join a community. All right. Be careful what you read online and ask me the questions. If you've got a question out there about the inventing process, sometimes I can make a whole broadcast out of it, and sometimes I just respond to you online. But by all means, ask the questions. There is no bad question when it comes to inventing. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you on Monday.